Welcome everybody to another episode of Savage Cash. Here with me, Suppoman, your superhero cryptocurrency expert. I am going to let you know what to do about this upcoming Bitcoin fork because it's already having a substantially positive impact on Bitcoin. However, what's happening is what I'm noticing anyway, is that a lot of the altcoins are starting to lose value. Okay, they are sinking in value, and this is a trend that I imagine will become more and more of a problem coming towards the mid part of the month, towards the end of the month. Okay, so we are seeing a rapid acceleration in Bitcoin's growth. So what we have seen is Bitcoin trying to get up to $4,500. Okay, it's been trying to break through that psychological benchmark milestone, I suppose, of $4,500. It's been trying to get there, and it's now here. And since it hit, it has surged through. Okay, and this has also positively impacted upon Ethereum. Why is this happening? Well, a big reason why this is happening is because of the upcoming Bitcoin Gold fork. Okay, so why is this relevant? Well, essentially the reason why this is relevant is because what's going to be happening when Bitcoin Gold is essentially created and people have it is, I believe anyway, it's going to start increasing in value. Now, I don't know what that value is going to start off being. I didn't know what the value is going to start off being for Bitcoin Cash, but you know, as you saw, once it was forked, then basically it was, you know, went up to about $700, and then it stayed around the $500 mark. Okay, so we know what can happen with a fork. Essentially, people imagined that what would happen with Bitcoin Cash is that it would lose value. People would essentially start kind of pumping it so that they could then sell it, and then it would absolutely tank. But it took a long time for it to really tank, which shows really that when Bitcoin Gold suddenly gets created, the same thing could happen. All right, so people are wanting to essentially benefit from having some Bitcoin and a plentiful supply of Bitcoin once the hard fork occurs, because people are going to be able to receive Bitcoin Gold as a result of having Bitcoin. So like with what happened with Bitcoin Cash, you know, basically if you had one Bitcoin, you would get one Bitcoin Cash and it would get prorated that way. But that was how it was distributed. That's how people got Bitcoin Cash, just literally through having Bitcoin. And what happened to Bitcoin was that the price absolutely soared in the run-up to that fork. Okay, so if I bring you this graph up here, what you can essentially see happening, you can see a lot of the patterns, the previous patterns of what has happened when Bitcoin has crashed and then subsequently gone to an all-time high. So at this point, it hit an all-time high, it crashed a little bit, then spiked up to another all-time high. The same thing happened down here. Now, this was the Bitcoin Cash fork, basically. So the price absolutely plummeted and then soared to an all-time high and then went up to another high, and then recently it crashed with what was happening in, you know, with the exchanges, what was happening in China, not really affected by what happened in South Korea. And then now it is spiking again, but it's spiking at an aggressive rate. So it's at this point right now, and I imagine it's just going to keep on basically growing in an aggressive fashion, going towards the Bitcoin Gold fork date, which is the 25th of October. Okay, so why is Bitcoin Gold, why is that rumored to basically be, you know, somewhat of a legitimate and credible fork of Bitcoin? Well, because of this article completely explains it. Okay, so it says, will Bitcoin Gold return power to ordinary users? Okay, so let's just go down and have a look and see what is said here. Okay, so it says here that Bitcoin Gold, the new potential hard forking currency, is an attempt to wrestle the lucrative mining component of Bitcoin out of hand. So it's wrestle the mining, essentially the mining process of Bitcoin out of the hands of giant firms and essentially put it back into the hands or the control of the normal user. Okay, so it's called the People's Fork, essentially. So like I said, it was sober the 25th of October. Okay, so at the moment, as it says here, mining farms and pools hold all the cards within Bitcoin. Now, you know, mining farms, that they have become really super popular, and people are really hesitant to invest in mining farms and mining contracts. But the fact of the matter is, that is where all the power is. They have got the massive computing power to mine the Bitcoins. Okay, so this is why people kind of, instead of doing it on their own, which is quite tough, they are actually buying a mining contract. And so what's happening is they are holding all the cards. These mining farms and pools hold all the cards. Okay, so Bitcoin Gold wants to see the at-home enthusiast miner back in control. So essentially, to bring mining back to where it was at the beginning, and essentially to allow the masses to get into mining, essentially through GPU mining. So with the control of a graphics card, really. So they are changing the way in which mining takes place for Bitcoin Gold and taking it, I suppose, back to its roots. Okay, so as it says in here, it used to be that mining was totally open to anyone who felt like firing up the software on their home computer. However, over time, Bitcoin mining became regulated to expensive custom miners and operated in giant factories to achieve economies of scale. So essentially, in order to be profitable, it needed this incredible power, which these mining farms and these factories have been able to achieve. Okay, so Bitcoin Gold is essentially going to be the people's fork. It's going to essentially enable the regular user to be able to mine Bitcoin. So whereas before, when Bitcoin Cash, people didn't know what was going to happen. People thought, you know, what is this Bitcoin Cash? How is this going to make any kind of, how's this going to make any difference in my life? As it says here, Bitcoin Cash was threatened, laughed off, created, boomed, it then fizzled out as Bitcoin carried on in its merry way. However, it's still relatively expensive as a cryptocurrency. Okay, so this isn't a cryptocurrency that spiked up to $800 and then went down to $15 and nobody saw the value of it. It's still a very solid 3-figure coin, even though it has gone down tremendously. Okay, so basically the Bitcoin fork for Bitcoin Gold is treated a lot more seriously than with what happened with Bitcoin Cash. And looking at the previous historical peak that came out of what happened with Bitcoin Cash, this is a sign of what's to come and what's going to come earlier, because people know that they are basically going to be getting free cash from the fork. Okay, if you hold, it depends on, it hasn't actually been decided kind of what wallets you need to, you know, have your Bitcoin in order to get the Bitcoin Gold. But this is going to become, I suppose, this is going to become, you're going to be informed about this closer to the time. Okay, but what we're seeing is already a serious spike up in the value of Bitcoin. Okay, so I am imagining this is going to by far exceed the $5,000 milestone. Well, $5,100 is what I put in my October price prediction video. I think this is going to far and away exceed this. Now, what does that mean for you? This is the bit that you need to now listen to. Okay, so what's going to happen is what traditionally happens when Bitcoin achieves a big spike in investment. Okay, when Bitcoin booms, altcoins plummet. Okay, now it doesn't happen to every altcoin. A lot of the altcoins that have some exciting things happening around it, they won't necessarily just dive and fall out of the sky like a lead balloon. So, you know, so for instance, Neo, although that's at 33, I imagine that won't be too negatively affected by what's going to happen. But if we look at something like Walton, if I can find Walton, although it's got a slight decrease in the last 24 hours, I think with what's happening in the month will prop up Walton quite nicely. I don't necessarily think it's going to crash and burn, but I do think a lot of cryptocurrencies are. And you can see that there's already some signs of red, a predominant amount of red, in the more minor altcoins, even though the more major, the top 10 cryptocurrencies, they appear to be more in the green. But as I think the time comes towards the 25th of October, I think that we are going to see prices really plummet for a lot of altcoins, okay? So this is what happened to Litecoin around about the time of, you know, the Bitcoin surge in price, okay? So there it was, Litecoin was doing really nicely, and then all of a sudden it just absolutely plummeted towards the end of August and took a long time to recover. Now, this is one particular cryptocurrency. I'm not going to say this is going to happen with every cryptocurrency, but this is a particular instance of activity of what can happen during a spike of Bitcoin. Okay, so whereas you see, you know, in August, the beginning of August, Litecoin going down, you can see here that at the beginning of August, it was just, or around about the beginning of August, it was just spiking up and up and up to the highest levels that Bitcoin had ever achieved, and then went even higher. So moving towards the 25th of October, I'm imagining that the value is going to start to get sucked out of altcoins, okay? I don't necessarily think it's going to be a humongous crash, but I do think that right now is not the best time to invest in altcoins, okay? So I've already said in my last 2 Savage Crypto episodes, I've already said that essentially I am waiting for great entry points for Substratum for Chainlink. So somebody said to me the other day in my comments, they said, Super, do you really think that Chainlink's going to go down to 40 cents? It's at 48 cents now. It's only going to continue to grow. You're talking out of your arse, Suppoman. Well, look what's happened. It's already lost 6 cents, and I imagine this is going to, again, decline. There may be points where people start accumulating and it brings the value up temporarily, but there's going to be, I believe, a trajectory of decline, which means that it brings an optimal entry point and a good accumulation point for cryptocurrencies, okay? So you may hear me talking about this till I'm blue in the face. I'm always saying to you, you know, accumulate when the price goes down. And this is going to be another opportunity to do that because altcoins are going to go down. They are already starting to go down, and it's only the 8th of October. We're still 2 weeks away from this. Well, more than 2 weeks away from the fork actually occurring. And I think that Bitcoin is going to basically just gather up strength, momentum, size, value as the time progresses towards the 25th of October. It's just going to be a snowball getting bigger and bigger and basically rolling down a hill, just getting bigger and bigger and bigger until this becomes this enormous boulder sized, you know, force. So I'm imagining this is what's going to happen with cryptocurrency, with a lot of the altcoins that are going to be affected. Substratum is another one. So Substratum, I spoke about yesterday. A lot of people, you know, invested at that point. When I looked this morning, Substratum was at 16 cents and it's now basically gone down to 14.2 cents. And I've said this, the entry point for this is about 10 cents or less. So as soon as this hits 10 cents, I'm going to start accumulating. And if it goes down, I'll accumulate more and accumulate more. So you're probably going to notice a lot of cryptocurrencies, a lot of the altcoins are going to start going down in value. Now, I put a poll earlier on my Twitter. So if you're not following me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. Make sure that you get involved in my polls because my polls are awesome. So what I put in here is who is investing in Bitcoin for the upcoming forks. So there's 2 forks coming up, with the first one being Bitcoin Gold. So what I've said is, what I've put here as the options are, well, after Bitcoin Cash, definitely. Nah, prefer my altcoins, and the other one is dunno. Now, if you have a look and see what the people have actually said, this is both encouraging and at the same time quite terrifying. Basically 27%, so only a quarter, just over a quarter of those polled, of which there's 288 at the moment. I put this on a few hours ago. Over a quarter have said they are going to be investing in Bitcoin and putting some money in Bitcoin so that they can benefit from the Bitcoin Cash. And half have said, no, I'm going to be investing in my altcoins. I'm not going to be touching Bitcoin. Now, I know that I have certainly been an evangelist for altcoins. Okay, I've always been against the Bitcoin meisters, against the Chris Dunns, against the Bitcoin evangelists that are saying, get Bitcoin, because it's a flipping easy thing to make money on. Just safe and not very risky. Even though Bitcoin did go down to under $3,000 literally a few weeks ago, generally it's quite a safe cryptocurrency. So I have some Bitcoin, and I had it at the peak of its price, and it went right down, and I wasn't worried even though it lost $2,000, because you have this sense of assurance with Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin's just the easy option, which is why I always favor the altcoins. But for this period, I do recommend that you do put some money in Bitcoin. Okay, particularly because it's going to be quite stable over the next few weeks. And I think that the value is going to just surge of Bitcoin. So it makes sense to invest at this point, if you haven't already, to invest at this point before the price spikes towards 5,000 and beyond. Okay, because you can make some money off the gain. You can make some money with the Bitcoin gold that you will get for holding it in whatever wallet allows you to get it 1-for-1. In which case, I mean, I think that the number personally should be half here. Even though people prefer altcoins and people, you know, will want to invest in the exciting ones, of which I've been bringing you, I'm going to be bringing you some more over the course of Savage Crypto's lifespan. What I would say is that it's definitely a great idea to hedge your bets, okay? And use this opportunity, really, to accumulate altcoins when they become cheaper. Because I think right now, they are relatively healthy. A lot of the cryptocurrencies right now, they're not experiencing massive slumps in price. You know, when we do see the reds, they're not huge reds. Okay, they're not massive at this point. Okay, basic attention token is, and that has drastically gone below my prediction. So I knew this was going to be one of the fallers of this month, but I didn't think it would fall quite this much. Okay, so, you know, so I think this is a sign of things to come. This is what we're seeing. This is what we're going to continue to see. We are going to continue seeing the prices of the altcoins going down. Okay, and this is going to be incremental. It's not necessarily going to be, you know, straight bang, loads of them going down and people cashing out. But over time, if we look at the price of altcoins right now and compare it to what it will be in 2 weeks' time, they are going to be a lot less for most of them, except for the ones that are being propped up. So at the moment, we can see a lot of altcoins at a great position. 10x at the moment is under $2. Kyber's gone down a little bit. Stratus, even though this has got some great market news coming up, they're going to be announcing masternodes shortly. That is still not growing over $4. And Omis Go, which is definitely a great long-term cryptocurrency, people are taking their money out and putting it into Bitcoin, okay? Even though it's got a hell of a lot of promise. Okay, so this is just a sign of things to come. So the stronger ones, the ones that, you know, certainly a lot of the cryptocurrency YouTubers are talking about, a lot of the ones that have some great long-term value attached to them, they are going down already, and it sets a precedent for what's going to happen with a lot of the rest of them. So Cardano went up to 2.3 cents earlier, and now it's at 2.1 cents. Even though it's an increase of yesterday, it's still going down, and is likely to correspond with the rise of Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin, there's going to be some uncertainty even around Bitcoin, okay? Because people are going to be wrestling it. It happened last month as well. It happened last month. Not last month. It happened on the lead up to August. People were wrestling it. But it didn't stop the behemoth, okay? It didn't stop this incredible momentum building on Bitcoin's part. And it is going to happen regardless of what wrestling takes place with Bitcoin. All right, so I'm going to now open up some questions and see what you guys think is going to be happening over the course of the next weeks, because I am interested in hearing what your thoughts are. In the interim, I'm going to have some background music, and I want to know what you guys think of this background music, because it beats having just silence, doesn't it? So let's see what you guys are saying. I haven't actually checked that I'm live. This is what I tend to do. So, guys, while I've got you online, I am live. Let's have a like spike. Like spike this video. Smash the hell out of it. Smack that like button. Bang. At the moment, I've got 95 likes, 602 people watching. That is pathetic. Let's see if we can get up to 1,000 likes in this stream. We've never had 1,000 likes achieved in a single stream. The most we've achieved, I think, is about 400 or so likes. So let's smash it up to 1,000 likes. So if everybody can get behind this, that would be wicked. So let's see what you guys are saying. Cos. A lot of people just not saying very much, actually. What do you guys think is going to happen over the course of the next few weeks on Bitcoin? Do you think that Bitcoin is going to go up, or do you think that Bitcoin is going to increment? Do you think Bitcoin's going to spike up, or do you think that Bitcoin's going to just go up incrementally and the altcoins won't be too badly affected? So some weird comments, really. In fact, to be honest, no one looks like they really know. It looks like people are just essentially imagining that their favourite altcoins are going to stay up, but they're not. I mean, it's useless, really, it's useless to fight it. Okay, it's simple as that. Because what's going to happen is people are just going to take their money out of whatever cryptocurrency they're holding, particularly if they show signs of dropping. Because I know this. I mean, whether you want to hear it or not, I know this. This is predictable market movement, okay? So people are going to take their money out of altcoins because there's a lot of whales in the game. A lot of money is in altcoins through whales. Whales hold a large amount of share in a lot of cryptocurrencies. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin is king. So people are going to take their money out of altcoins and take sizable chunks out of altcoins, okay, which is going to lead to panic selling because you're going to see noticeable drops in some cryptos, okay? Some cryptos are going to see noticeable drops and people are going to take their money out through panic reactions. So they're going to then put it into what's rising, and what's going to be rising is Bitcoin, whether you like it or not. So essentially, this is what's likely to happen over the next few weeks. Okay, so even what has happened with the banning of cryptocurrencies, the banning of ICOs, the banning of exchanges, doesn't really matter. Okay, because even though that was fear, there is always going to be fear. People are always going to hedge their bets and want to take their money out of something that is going to sink because they imagine that it's just going to sink lower, 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 lower the longer they keep their money in it. So they're going to take it out. So incrementally, whales are going to take out, and then the smaller traders are going to take out, and then they're going to pump Bitcoin because that's where the money's going to go to, and it's also where the value is, particularly in the run-up to Bitcoin Gold. I think that despite, I've been speaking about a lot of cryptocurrencies recently, but at the same time, you can't wrestle with the king, okay? The king is Bitcoin. It's the king. So fighting it, it's almost just not worth doing. Now, if you've got good positions in long-term cryptocurrencies, people will say to you, a lot of the experts, Uber experts will say to you, take your money out and buy back down. Okay, short it essentially. My opinion is to keep your money in because that's money vested, okay? But what people are going to do, regardless of what I say, is people are going to take their money out of the cryptocurrencies anyway. Okay, so it's pointless me really recommending that. So really, the thing is just to let what happens happens. Okay, so you can either invest in the Bitcoin now, or you can wait till the Bitcoin goes up a bit more and the value of certain altcoins sinks. So it really is up to you. But I do see a downwards trajectory, an incremental downwards trajectory of a lot of cryptocurrencies. Not all. Some will be propped up by market news coming up. Some will be propped up simply because of the strength of who they are, like Neo. But a lot of the more minor ones, they're just not significant enough to compete with Bitcoin. Red Pulse, Red Pulse. I'm not getting involved in Red Pulse personally. I think it's a cryptocurrency that's kind of been, it kind of had its very hot moments, but it lost it because that was the ICO really directly impacted by the initial Chinese ICO ban. Okay, So I think that although that got caught up within the news piece and made it particularly noteworthy, it's not something I'm personally going to touch, but other people can. Litecoin, I think, is going to wrestle with Bitcoin, because at the end of the day, Bitcoin is king. And although Litecoin is going to have some temporary pumps into it, it's a great long-term cryptocurrency. But I do see this going down more towards the October the 25th. I don't think that Bitcoin is going to go dramatically down when it spikes up towards the end of this month. By the way, what I do want to know is, what do you think of the background music whilst I'm talking? Do you think that works, or would you prefer silence? Let me know in the comments, background music or silence? Background music or silence? Let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to have a look and see how things are going on the stream. 244 likes. Come on, man, smash them up. If you haven't signed up to YouTube, smash those likes down. Only 244. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Silence, louder music, silence, music. We're having a really good balance. But I'm guessing that silence is... I'm going to put silence now. And just let the video go naturally. Music suck. Lisk. Let's have a look at Lisk. So Lisk recently went up in price to $6. And then since then, it's just dropped. Okay, it dropped during what was happening in the thick of all the China action. It then went back up to $6, and now it's sinking again to $4 and below. Why? Because it had its time, okay? It was hot. It was a hot cryptocurrency, gathering momentum like a snowball, basically like what's going to happen with Bitcoin. With all the, all the attention it was getting investment. It was building like a snowball to its peak, which was at $8 nearly, and then it has since tanked, okay? Now, this is something that I expect to rise after the Bitcoin gold scenario, well, after the forks have occurred, okay? I expect Lisk to once again have an uninterrupted run, well, not uninterrupted, but it'll have a nice run up without having a fork. And in the absence of some damaging market news, like banning ICOs or banning this or banning that, or other countries attempting to control how cryptocurrency is traded or invested in, or how countries are, using it, then unless we see something like that, I imagine Lisk will go up again. But until then, I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is going to have another trajectory downwards. I don't think it's going to go to as low as it got to. I don't think it's going to go down to the $2 mark. But I do anticipate it might meet late $3. Civic. Let's have a look and see what people are saying about Civic. So Civic is, was at about 40 cents the other day, about 38 cents, 39 cents, and it has since gone down yet again to 30 cents. Now, this is one that I anticipate again, unless they have some market news coming up, then I imagine that this will also continue to sink. Okay, and that's just a fact. But there comes a point, and you do your technical analysis at this point, where you see what the support line is. Where does the support lie before it goes back up? And then basically from that, you can kind of see where the bottom is for a particular cryptocurrency. But sometimes in forks, like with what happened with Bitcoin, the bottom doesn't matter and technical analysis doesn't matter. And that's where you do your research. That's where you apply logic to the equation and think, right, what is the average Civic investor going to do? Are they going to stay in with a sinking ship, or are they going to invest in a cryptocurrency going up and then buy back once they have got their money from Bitcoin Gold and benefited from the spike in Bitcoin? So you think about what the rational investor is likely to do. Are they going to go down with a sinking ship, or are they going to jump onto a life raft, essentially be led back to safety, and then, you know, try and retrieve their valuables once they are safe. Okay, that is what you need to think about. Okay, what would the reasonable person do in this situation? Don't think, you know, oh, I'm invested in a particular cryptocurrency, I'm going to stick with it till the bitter end no matter what. Think about what the reasonable person will do and act accordingly. Now, I'm not taking my money out of a lot of my trades. I'm just going to strengthen my position. I've already got quite a lot of money invested in Bitcoin. So I'm quite happy that that is an amount I want to have invested in Bitcoin come the 25th of October. Ripple. Let me have a look at Ripple. So Ripple, this is excellent. I anticipated this would happen in the run-up to the Ripple Swell Conference, which is the 16th to the 19th. So this is an example of a cryptocurrency being propped up by news, by announcements. Okay, so Ripple's doing well simply on the basis that it's relevant. Okay, it's relevant right now. And again, people are taking their money out of certain cryptocurrencies and putting it into the ones that are growing at the moment. That is particularly what a lot of the newbie investors do, because they don't care whether it's the peak right now. They are going to put their money in it because it's in green and not red. I don't know what Modi loyalty is. I saw this the other day. Entering the top 100, but I didn't bother to look into it. But it was experiencing a pump, and now it's experiencing a dump. And this is something that happens when something does kind of make some waves. Okay, it makes some waves, and then subsequently it dumps. Okay, it's in the lending market. So payments and lending. Okay, so yeah, we've seen this before. So this was, I suppose, just applying logic to this, this has been pumped because lending platforms are being pumped, or have been pumped recently. And so this is just a benefactor of that pump, okay? And it's going to go down because the basis for investing is not as strong as something like Bitcoin. So we're just going to see a lot of the cryptos that have recently experienced pumps are going to lose out to Bitcoin's rise, okay? Now let me just check on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going up very incrementally, okay? Because people are really beginning to see, right, it's broken through that psychological barrier of 4,500. Now's the time to put your money behind it. NEO, I think that your money is not going to be in danger, okay? So NEO is a major cryptocurrency that's going to be propped up by its strength in the market, ICOs that are going to be running from, you know, where you buy into cryptocurrency, ICOs with NEO. I think that Red Pulse being one of them. So I don't think that NEO is going to be negatively affected in the same way that a lot of the more minor altcoins will. Minor altcoins, particularly the ones in the kind of, you know, kind of 30 to 100 are going to be the ones mostly affected. And then there's going to be some shining examples of some within the 11 to 30 are going to be affected too. All right, and you could already see that happening. ARK is one of the more exciting long-term investments that you can get involved with, and look at that, gone 10% down. This is an example. Omis Go, very, very strong, going down because of what's happening with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is king, and it will trump any other altcoin right now. And that is just a fact. Ethereum is also going to be experiencing a fork, the Byzantium fork. So this is also something that's going to be propped up by relevance and market news. So it's not something that I imagine will be badly affected. So Bitcoin and Ethereum, I anticipate, I already told you in my October predictions, Bitcoin's going to go over 5,000, Ethereum's going to go on over 400. And I think that, you know, the forks are only basically confirming what I already knew. So I think that's it. I don't want to make this too long. I really just wanted to make this quite clear as to how you should play this, because the last thing I want to do as a cryptocurrency guru that people follow, I don't want people to say, Superman, why didn't you tell me about this earlier? Why didn't you tell me that Bitcoin was going to spike and everything else was going to drop? Well, this is me coming with plenty of time, plenty of notice, just to say this is likely to happen. You, of course, can decide on the course of action you take. Do you want to sell? Do you want to keep invested? use that time to accumulate altcoins that you've already got a position in to take a stronger position come the time when all of a sudden, you know, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Gold and Bitcoin are stabilized, and then people start to pump money back into the altcoins. Okay, so that is what you need to do. But why will Bitcoin Gold lead to a spike in Bitcoin investment, and why do people want Bitcoin Gold? Because this is what's being billed as the people's fork. Okay, it's bringing mining back to the regular user and taking it away from the monopolized industry. Even though we're in a decentralized industry, a decentralized market, what you've got is elements of control where basically the people with power, the mining farms and the mining pools and the large factories are the ones that have a monopoly over mining, and they are essentially getting people to invest in mining contracts so that you can benefit from mining, because it's just it's beyond the regular user's ability to get involved in mining. It's not profitable, and it requires a lot of work, this proof of work, you know, coin. So this is the people's fork. It's essentially going to enable people who've got Bitcoin Gold to mine Bitcoin Gold via a GPU, which is a graphics chip, basically. So, you know, so they are looking to make... So Bitcoin Gold, I think, has a lot more credibility than Bitcoin Cash. And we know what happened with Bitcoin Cash. Everybody jumped onto Bitcoin to get Bitcoin Cash. They got a load of free cash, depending on how much you were invested in Bitcoin. You could get a ton of Bitcoin Cash, and that could pay for about a year's worth of holidays. 3 years worth of holidays, depending on how much Bitcoin you had at the time. And so similarly, with Bitcoin Gold, I think this is going to be a valuable Bitcoin fork. Okay, Bitcoin Gold returning power to ordinary users. I've already said that I think that Bitcoin Gold is going to be one that's taken seriously and has more credibility. Okay, and by the way, Bitcoin Gold is not to be confused with this. Okay, so this is BTC Gold, and I do imagine this will experience a pump moving towards the fork. Okay, I do imagine this will experience a pump, because people are going to be thinking, oh, Bitcoin Gold is already available, so I'm going to buy some now, so that, you know, when the price goes up to $500, I will make times 100,000 on my investment. People obviously don't... This is not Bitcoin Gold, but this is going to be pumped because it's got BTC Gold, and people easily get confused. So I do imagine this is going to have quite a heavy pump going up towards Bitcoin Gold. Okay, I really do think that's going to happen. Let's see what you guys are saying. Elixir, Elixir, Elixir. I've covered Elixir. I'm not going to bother going to Elixir. I'm just going to have a look and see where Elixir is. So it's at 12 cents. So this pumped really high up to 40 cents, I think, after my video. And then, yeah, it went up to about 40 cents. And then has dumped massively. People dumped it. They made a lot of money off the gain. And now people are starting to pump it again. Any more questions? Any more questions? So anyway, so yeah, so I just want to essentially let you know what is happening right now and really how to play it. So guys, if you haven't already, if you're Team Suppoman, subscribe to my channel. I basically am kind of getting not many subscribers on a daily basis right now. I think it's to do with the fact that that cryptocurrency is out of its honeymoon stage. So if you're not yet Team Suppoman, join Team Suppoman, smash that subscribe button, and also make sure that you smash that like button for this video. But otherwise, what I'm going to do, guys, I'm basically going to go now, because this was essentially to cover the whole point of the Bitcoin fork, the Bitcoin Gold coming up soon, and to let you know what's likely to happen and inform you of what position you should think about taking at this time. All right, so I hope that this has been useful for you. I hope that it's let you know what you can do closer to the time, because I think that the value of a lot of the altcoins are going to be going down predominantly. And I think that you just need to know that, so that you don't panic because you think, oh, what's leading to this? Why is it happening? This is what's going to happen. It's basically the fork come the end of the month, and it's already showing early signs of moving, and moving very quickly. Okay, so it's simply a case of informing you of what's going to happen and what you should do at this time. So guys, a quick like spike, because there's only 347 likes, which is low compared to the amount of people watching. So make sure you smash that like, because it really helps. So guys, I've been Suppoman. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Savage Cash. Before it gets dark, I'm going to make a move before I fade back again into the black. So it's lights out or out.